Hello everyone, apparently I'm live. Welcome back to Sukio's Art channel. And today we're going to be doing a review on this live video. Okay, I never know with these things whether I'm live or not. It's really annoying. Leave a comment in the comment section to let me know if you can see what's happening here. Okay, so I can't take a long time today. Usually these videos last making noise with my little, let me just show you. This is a little elephant, and I keep all of my brushes and pencils in it. I actually built this myself. I'm really proud. I know it's a small little thing, but still. Anyway, yeah, so usually my videos take about like 2 hours, but today I actually have to be quite quick because I was supposed to go over to my family's house, and I'm already running late because I wanted to do this video, and I was supposed to do it during the week, and I didn't get a chance to because I've been working nonstop. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Let's not dilly-dally. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Pelikan Opaque Paint Box set. Oh yeah, just to let you know as well, guys, since my last video, I've gotten birds. So I've got 2 zebra finches. So if you hear a lot of chirping in the background or a lot of noise, that's because those are my birds. I can't shut them off. I'm sorry. Okay, so back to the paints. So my friend went to Portugal last year on holiday in between the lockdowns when people are actually allowed to go. And he asked me if I wanted anything. I said, well, you can bring me some art supplies if you want. And he got me these paints. Now, at first I thought they were watercolors, but because it says opaque, I'm not sure if it's gouache. It might be gouache because sometimes you do get gouache in this kind of format where you have it in pens or cakes like these instead of like in tubes. Yeah, so this is more like a children's set, I believe. You can tell because of the cartoony elephant. But still, I was really happy when I received them. I think it looks really pretty. So yeah, let's get on with opening it and see what it's like inside. Sometimes when I get art supplies, I'm not patient and I just open them straight away, even before I do a video, because I just want to see what they're like. But with this one, I was actually really patient. I'm proud of myself. And I didn't actually open it. So let me just show you really quickly. This is what the paints look like. So it's Pelikan. It says opaque paint box. I think that's German. That's another thing as well, even though he got these in Portugal. And they're not a Portuguese brand. They are a German brand. It says 22 Farben, which I guess means colors, because it says colors right there underneath that word. You can see that. Can you see that? Farben? I got it for a second. Oh, there we go. Okay. And then it says Pelikan here again. As you can see, it also comes with a brush. These are cakes. They're called cakes. So when you get a watercolor set or a gouache set in this format, the pens are usually the ones that, you know, those paints that come inside those little plastic containers, little ones. Yeah, like in the Cotman ones, and you can actually take out the paint from the plastic bit if it's not wet. With cakes, that doesn't happen. The cakes are actually stuck down. Also, I believe they're more chalky. Maybe that's why they're called cakes. Right, so on the back, you just have some explanations. So it's written in Deutsch, I think, first, then English, and it says quality paints for school and home, vivid colors, good covering power, light fast. Interesting. Okay. And it contains 22 colors, 1 brush. It doesn't say if it's watercolor or gouache. It just says that they're paints. So I guess we'll find out. Sometimes what happens is if they want to make a color opaque, they add actually I don't know what I was going to say anymore. They may have added quite a bit of hue or pigment to it to make it opaque, and then the chalkiness might make it, if they add a lot of chalk, it might mimic the consistency of gouache, but it's not gouache. It's just really thick paint, I guess. So we'll find out when we experiment with them. My zebra finches have just laid 3 eggs. Today was the 3rd time they laid an egg. I think that's why they're so quiet. Either it's because I'm talking, or it's because one of them is in the nest, you know, just warming up the eggs, and the other one is like on the outside watching out for any predators. They're so cute. Anyway, right. So yeah, still can't tell if they're watercolors or gouache. So that's the write-up. It's a very simple write-up, just in different languages, as you can see. It's the same thing over and over again. And then here it says Pelikan again and Opaque paint box in different languages. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and then it says Germany. So I was right. It's German. Okay, cool. And there's some writing on the side, but it's not really important. It's probably just the address of where they're based and a barcode. Um, so it says made in Germany in Hanover. So that's cool. And I think, yeah, okay, that's probably where the company is based. And then on the side here, it just says it's got small parts, which, you know, if a little kid puts it in his mouth or her mouth, they can choke on it or something. So it's just a warning. Yeah, just a warning. And then he says, you know, don't let kids who are under 3 years of age play with it. Come on. There we go. And then on top, yeah, it just says a Pelikan opaque paint box again. So, okay, let's try and open this. I've tried opening this before, but it's really difficult because like these grooves from the box are like outside, coming outside of the cardboard. So I get the feeling that I'm going to have to rip it in order to open it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it because I've tried opening it this way, but it doesn't come out because of the grooves. See? Like they get stuck there. Ay, ay, ay. And then when I try like lifting this bit, this one gets stuck on these grooves. So what's the point? What's the point, guys? Do I have scissors at hand? Don't think I do. Maybe I can try with this thing and just try going like this. Oh, here we go. Just do it like this. Okay. It's the quickest way I can think of opening these. Okay, cool. So I've got my iPad here because usually I would have used my TV, which is resting here, to put the image on there that I'm actually going to study. I'm going to do a study of. But my keyboard, not my keyboard, my mouse, the mouse pad on my laptop decided to stop working, so I couldn't bring the image over. So I'm just going to be using my iPad today. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Let's open it. Ooh, what's happening? Oh, wait, there's tape. I didn't see the tape. Let me just remove the tape. Oh, gosh. Ah, so frustrating. It's like so well stuck down. My hands are slippery as well because I put some cream on them. So that's probably why I can't remove the tape. Okay. Okay. So now there's some more tape on the other side. Oh, thank you for letting me know, David, from David's Art channel. He says the video is working fine. It's live, so this is great. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's what they look like. So, oh, do you know what, guys? I forgot to get water to dip my brush into. How silly is that? I'm gonna have to go down to the kitchen. So just bear with me. You're gonna hear some sounds of me moving things about and opening the door. Ah, can't believe I forgot the water. Just bear with me, guys. I'm just gonna get some water. Okay, guys, I'm back and just put the water down. Okay, and closing the door. So I live with other people. I have some roommates, so I like closing my door just in case they make noise downstairs. I don't want you guys to be bothered by that. Okay, I dropped some water on my sketchbook. That's okay. Okay. I'll just use this one because it's a little bit cleaner, this page. Okay, so like with anything, I'm going to start out by doing a color chart. Just see what the colors look like, because sometimes, especially with cheaper sets like this one, what tends to happen is the colors might not look like, well, they might not look the way they do on the actual cake or pan, or even the way it looks in the tube, especially if there's a lot of pigment and the color is really saturated, really concentrated. It might actually turn out to be lighter on paper than it does, you know, on the pan or the cake or in the tube. So let's just do a real quick color chart and see what they look like. The only thing about these is because they're children's paints, they don't have color names, which when you do a color chart can be difficult to identify. So I have to think of a system in which I'm going to do this. I think what I'll do is I'll start here and go this way and then this way and then this way. Okay. If you guys could let me know if it looks really dark on the screen, because I feel like it's looking a little bit dark. If you can see everything perfectly, that's great. If you're having problems seeing it because it's a bit dark, please let me know. I'm just moving my TV because I'm not using it anyway. So there you go. That has given me a bit more light. Okay. Trying to move it a little bit more. Okay. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Okay, let's start with the color chart. Okay. So I'm going to try that brush first. It just says Pelikan 24, 4, 24, and then there's 4 dots there. Try and bring that up so you can see. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to try that. I was going to say toothbrush, you know. I'm going to try that paintbrush first and see what happens. They actually look really nice, I have to say. They look really soft and smooth. They don't look very chalky. They don't feel chalky at this point either. Okay. And maybe if I move this way. When I put it down on the paper, it feels very smooth and very soft. And the colors are very pretty so far. I mean, I say colors, I mean color, the one color. This is a very nice carmine, I would say. Okay, that's nice. That feels really nice. Doesn't feel chalky. You're gonna see me get rid of the color on this piece of paper here. On the next piece of paper. This is how I get rid of my color. I don't like wiping it on a towel, so I just like doodle on the next piece of paper. Okay. I really like the way the color washes as well. It has a really nice quality to it. It creates really nice washes so far with that first color. Usually with cheaper sets, the consistency tends to be different from color to color. It tends to vary. However, this is a German brand, and in my experience, German brands tend to be quite high quality. Even the children's Swiss and German brands, like if you use Caran d'Ache or Faber-Castell, even their student grade products and children's products tend to be really good. Okay, so it's not as saturated as I thought. It is because it's a cheap watercolor set. You can see that it's a bit light on color. It's a little bit, I mean, I know it's watercolor and it's going to produce a wash, but you can see the particles separating a little bit from the water there. I don't know if you guys can see this on camera, but yeah, but still, they are nice colors. I think maybe I'm adding too much water to it as well. The brush is fine. So far, it's really soft and really nice, easy to use. I don't know if it would be good for details because it seems a bit too soft, and also hairs are beginning to fall apart on the cakes. Don't know if you can see that there. There's already hair there, so that's not good. But as far as cheap watercolor brushes go that come with sets like this one, this is not a bad brush. It's okay. For the actual drawing, I will switch over to one of the other brushes because I don't think I'd be able to do details with this brush. It's just, now that I've used it a little bit, it is beginning to fall apart. I don't want to take too long doing the watercolor chart, so I'm going to try and hurry through it. Okay, I'm beginning to feel the chalk now. This one is a little bit chalky. It's possible the other ones were too, and I just didn't notice it straight away. It's not a lot of chalk. It's a little bit of chalk. So they're not the chalkiest paints I've ever used. Also, I think because I was adding a little bit more water before, I'm trying to add less. When you add more water, maybe you don't notice it as much. Whereas when you add less water, it becomes a bit more obvious that there is chalk. So it's not too chalky, to be fair, but there is a little bit of chalk, which makes sense because they are children's paints. So at least the colors are vibrant enough, and they do produce nice washes. They do dry lighter than when you first deposit them on the page. I do apologize. I forgot to turn off the sound on my phone. So if it goes off, I apologize in advance. I'll turn it off in a second. Yeah, the green is not as saturated as the other ones, a little bit. Yeah. I might switch over to a different brush soon, actually. I might not wait for the whole color chart to be done. Okay, guys, just bear with me. I'm just going to switch off the sound on my phone. 1 second. If I can. Oh, sorry about that. I'm trying to switch it off and it just keeps going back up. Okay. Okay. So they're drying fine. There's nothing really to say about the way they're drying. As I said, the colors do look a little bit lighter than when they first go on the page. But these are cheap watercolors. I I don't think my friend ever told me how much they cost because obviously it was a gift, so he wouldn't have wanted to do that. Okay. Ooh, a bit too close to that other one. They are pretty colors, though. I'm not complaining. I think so far, on a first impression, um, as far as the color chart goes, I think, so far they feel like one of the better children's watercolors I've tried. I've tried quite a few, and the colors are vibrant enough, I think, for children. Some of them are better than others, I would say. But as I said at the beginning of this video, with cheap watercolor sets, the consistency can vary from color to color. Sometimes that even happens in more expensive sets, which is really frustrating. Like with my Prismacolor pencils, for example, which I adore. I love those pencils. Um, for the most part, the formula is consistent, but there's like one purple, I think, or one blue, or maybe two colors where it's just awful. You can't use them because the colors are so grainy and they don't feel nice when they go on the paper, which is such a weird thing to say because Prismacolor pencils are so soft and smooth and buttery. Like, I love those pencils so much. But yeah, even like with Faber-Castell polychromos, which again are also pencils that I like a lot, you do get this weird discrepancy in quality from pencil to pencil. Some of them are a bit smoother than others. Some of them are a little bit scratchy occasionally. Like the gold one, I think the gold polychromos is a little bit scratchy, and there was a few others as well where I experienced that. So it just goes to show how hard it is to get the formula right, even with really expensive um, products. I think the only one. No, I'm thinking about the luminance, the Caran d'Ache luminance, and even they get this problem because some of the pencils are actually a little bit scratchier than others, I've noticed. So yeah, it's interesting, but it happens more often with cheaper art supplies than it does with, ooh, I added too much water there, with expensive art supplies. That's a really nice turquoise there. I think it's gonna dry quite saturated, which is nice. I find with cheaper color sets, paint sets, whatever they are, the blues and the browns tend to be the richer colors. Like more fugitive colors like pinks and reds tend to be a little bit more chalky or a little bit more light in their saturation. Yeah, the browns and the blues, maybe the greens tend to be the best colors in cheaper sets. And that may be because those colors are more natural, more readily found in nature. Okay, I think I'm going to switch over the brush now because if you can see, the bristles are starting to come apart. Ooh, don't know if you can see that. No. It's not going to focus. Okay. I managed to do it earlier. Okay, never mind. But the point is the bristles are starting to come apart. So I think I'm going to switch over to one of my other brushes. I have quite a few here. I'll use this one. The De La Rowney #2. Bright, simply De La Rowney. This is, I think, their student brand or their children's brand. Got a white here. I'm not sure if there's any point in swatching the white because I'm doing it on white paper, but I'm going to try anyway. Okay, I can sort of see it. It's not completely white. Is anything completely white? Can you actually make a completely white type of color? You wouldn't be able to see it at all, probably. There is a black. Usually when we get blacks, even in expensive sets, they're not true blacks. Because the other day I was watching this video on YouTube, and this girl, she found a true black paint. I don't know if it was oil or acrylic, but it was true black. And it was incredible. Like when she put it on the paper, it actually looked like you were looking into a black hole because it was so black. It literally looked like there was a hole on the page. So I think that's why companies don't produce true blacks, because if they did, because black is not a color, it's just the absence of color. Of course, if you have a pigment, that's black. That's a color because it's a pigment that exists. That's a color. But I mean, in general, black is not a color. It's a neutral, but it's the absence of color. So that's what happens when you use a true black. It just looks like there's nothing there because it's the absence of color. Oh, okay, that was my phone dropping. I apologize. Somebody is calling me and the phone was vibrating and it just fell off the desk. I'm so sorry. So yeah, that's why companies that I believe don't produce like true blacks, because it would look too weird for the human mind to comprehend. So what they do is they produce really, really dark grays that get as close to black as possible. Though, technically they are black. They're just not true black, if that makes sense. So the reason why I'm talking about the black is because I assume it's the same thing with the white. They couldn't produce a true white. If they're making a color that's white, because white is just like light, so you wouldn't be able to see it at all. I'm sure to some of you this sounds pretty obvious and they're going, duh. But it's just part of my journey as an artist, trying to learn about color and how things work. Okay. So that's why I can see this white on the page. You probably can't see it on camera, or maybe you can, because this really high definition is like this little square here. But I can see it from, I can see it from all angles because it's not completely white. It's like there's a tinge of gray to that white. A slight tinge of gray, which is why it pops off the page if you're paying attention. So I just doodle with the extra paint that's left on the brush instead of just getting rid of it completely. It's not a masterpiece, but I'm sure somebody would look at that and probably maybe thousands of years from now, somebody will find my sketchbook and they'll try, like aliens maybe, and they're trying to analyze it and find out what it means. Like, is there some secret code? Like, what were people of the 21st century thinking? And they'll think it's, some sort of weird Rorschach test, or however you call that test. Whatever you call that test. Is it Rorschach? Is there an R in it? I don't know. I don't remember now. Yeah, so again, you can see the particles separating from the water, which is really interesting. I've seen that in the Sakura Koi set, where the articles, the particles were separating from the water. I watched a video once where somebody explained why cheaper sets do this, but I don't remember now. So why bother mentioning it, right? There's a reason for it. I just don't know what it is. Oh yeah, also it doesn't feel like wash, definitely feels like watercolor. So I would say it's watercolor. It is opaque watercolor, I guess, that's basically gouache is supposed to be opaque watercolor. That's what we call gouache, opaque watercolor. And some of them they are definitely quite saturated and bright and vibrant and pretty. But they don't feel quite like gouache. They do feel like watercolor. Maybe it's because I've been adding too much water. Because when you dilute gouache, it does feel like watercolor. So I do. That is something I have to practice not doing. I always do add a little bit too much water when I'm using the watercolor, which you don't want to do. I suppose actually it depends which effect you're going for. If you want a lot of washes, then yeah. Okay, let me try with only a little bit of water, see what happens. No, still looks like watercolor. Still feels like watercolor. So I would say it's definitely watercolor. If you add extra layers, then yes, it becomes more opaque. I have to add extra layers with some of these colors because as you saw, that purple was quite slight. Okay, there you go. Those are my birds chirping. Hopefully you can hear me. They're happy. Okay, yeah, so with some colors like that purple, which was very light, I had to add another layer just to get a feel for the color. I don't think I spent a lot of money on these watercolors. By the way, if you guys can't hear me over the birds chirping, please let me know because I'm not sure at this point if you can hear them or not. So a comment from anybody would be really helpful. Yeah, so I don't know how much he spent on these watercolors, but I don't think it was too expensive. I do believe it was under 10 euros. I think it was 7 euros something. I don't remember. He may not have told me, and I may be confusing that with something else. Yeah, but some of these colors are definitely more saturated right off the bat than others. Purples tend to be very fugitive, so this one is quite a bluish purple, and bluish purples tend to be a bit more light fast. Oh, great. Thank you, David, for letting me know. Okay, 2 more colors to go, and then I do my drawing. Okay, so these are 22 colors. There's a nice selection here. Oh, sorry, I mixed the gray with the brown there a little bit. That was an accident. Okay. Just giving this little heart flower, whatever it is, some gray skies. Okay, and then it's the black. Okay, that's not so bad. Definitely looks like a dark gray, not a black, but it is what it is. And when you layer it, it looks more black, so that's good. Okay, so just getting rid of the black. Okay, this is a much better brush. Okay, all right, so here are our colors. So we have 2 yellows, 2 oranges, 2 reds, a magenta of some sort or a pink of some sort. We have 4 blues. I would consider that a blue. There's a tinge of green to that, but I would say it leans more towards the blue than it does towards the green. So I'll say there's 4 blues. There's 3 greens. This is quite a bluish green. It's like much more turquoisey than actual green, but I would say it leans more towards the green. So I'll say there's 4 greens because this is like an olive green. This may be like a greenish brown, but I would classify that as brown. So I'll say there's 2 oranges, 2 yellows, 2 reds, a vermilion, and a carmine, magenta, 4 blues, 4 greens, and then a greenish brown here, another brown, so 2 browns, this kind of like Caucasian beige skin color, a gray and a black, and yeah, and the white. Oh, and a purple. So yeah, I would say for children, that's a nice balance. So I'll just try mixing this red with a blue and see if we can get a nice purple. That's a really nice red. I really like that color. And now I'll try mixing. My birds want to take over my video. Don't know if you can hear them chirping. I'm going to try mixing this blue. See what happens. Usually I would do more mixes than this, but I don't have time because I have to get started on the drawing. So, okay, that's a nice purple. I added a bit too much blue, so let me add a bit more red. That's too blue. Okay. Maybe that's a bit too red. Ah, now it's becoming really chalky because I've mixed so much. This is something that happens often in cheap sets. The more colors you mix, the more muddy and chalky they become. Just goes to show that there's actually a substantial amount of chalk in there. Not as obvious in some of the sets, granted. It's there. Okay. Okay, that's a more reddish purple now. Okay. So they mix quite well. Okay, that's good. So they mix quite well. Just obviously you have to be careful how many colors you mix because, as I said, they can get muddy and chalky. But then there's such a big selection that you might find you don't have to mix that many colors. So that's the good thing about having a big selection of colors. It means you don't have to mix as much as you want. But I know that people like working from limited palettes. Yeah, this will not be the set for you if you like working from limited palettes.